Outside the Box Reviews, we are taking a look at the NECA Alien Wave 4 Jones the Cat figure. Now this is the figure that Alien fans have been clamoring for years now. We all know that the cat that played Jones is very, very protective of its likeness rights, so it was a lot of work on NECA's part to actually get this figure made and get the true likeness to the character that we come to expect from them. So just getting it out of package, Jones looks like a really well done figure. It also comes with an accessory, so let's jump right in and take a look. The sculpting on Jones is really nicely done. A lot of great fur texture in here. They capture all the kind of different shades of fur he has. Very nice. He has the lighter underbelly coming down to the feet. The little cat head there with the bright green eyes. For such a tiny figure, it's very, very nicely detailed. We even have the little cat tail back here. Very nicely done. For articulation, Jones has a ball joint at the head, so he can look side to side and a little bit up and down. The tail looks like it's supposed to be articulated, but I can't get mine to move and I'm afraid to push it too far. Definitely don't want to break the tail off the figure. That's definitely not a good thing. And for an accessory, Jones comes with, I don't know, some figure of some no-name actress who was in the Alien movies. I mean, for some reason she was in all 4 of the original films. I have no clue why. But yeah, so we get this alongside. She comes with a very, very nicely done flamethrower here. Very movie accurate, looking just spectacular. It's a nice gray plastic with some dry brushing in there to give it a very dirty, worn look, just like everything in the Alien universe has. We have the different bottles coming here off the bottom, the big red cylinder and this grayish white cylinder coming down. The 2 triggers here in the front and back. Spin around, we can see the nozzle where the flame would shoot out of. The little hose going to it. Really nicely detailed. More great detail on the back. And then we have this rubberized strap here. You can actually use it to put around the figure. It's decently done. You kind of have to use it with this piece because it's going to stick up. It doesn't have the real ability to drape down in a convincing way. I guess it probably could if you messed with the plastic enough, but to not want to overly bend this, you probably do just want to use it as a shoulder strap for Ripley. The sculpt NECA has given Ripley here is superb. This looks so much like the actress. It's just incredibly well done. Great attention to detail. I don't know if it's coming out on camera here, but they did kind of layer the colors in her face, giving her more than just a flat plasticky look. The eyes are really well painted along with the eyebrows and all the little details on her face. Things that are so easy to get messed up on a figure this size are just excellent on this figure. The hair is also nicely done. There's a little bit of dry brushing in there. It looks like a little bit of brown in there to really make it pop. It's a rubberized hair piece, but it's not super bendable, but it really doesn't get in the way. It's sculpted in such a way that kind of falls naturally on the back of her neck there, and then you can move it, and it really doesn't get in the way of her articulation or anything at all. Coming down the body, we do have the rest of the jumpsuit. You can see the green undershirt, like a tan shirt underneath that, and the jumpsuit itself. The little diagonal pockets here. The very, very tiny little insignia here on her chest. Really nicely done. Along with all the pulls on the zippers, and even the zippers themselves are painted in. Such a very, very tiny detail, but really brought out here by both the sculpt and the paint on this figure. On her shoulder here, we do have the Nostromo patch, looking very, very nice. And it really does look like a patch. It's actually raised up off the rest of the wrinkles and everything on the shoulder, which really give it a believable look. Similar one on her other shoulder. All the great stitching and wrinkles, the folded up area here at the elbow. So she has her bare arm going down. We have her, I don't know if it's a watch or a bracelet here on her wrist. Another interesting thing to note here is that the entire upper torso is kind of covered in a softer plastic. This is the rubberized material, what I sometimes refer to as the diaper. And because she doesn't have an actual waist joint here, it goes all the way up here to her chest. But even this upper section's rubberized to help with articulation. Coming down here, we have more zippers and details here on her pants. All the almost corseting looking details back here on the jumpsuit. A lot of great wrinkles sculpted in. Coming down the legs as well. More zippers down here on her lower legs. Some really, really dirty tennis shoes down here at the bottom with more great attention to detail. And peg holes at the bottom of her feet. For articulation, she has a really good range. She doesn't look up too terribly far because of the hair, but she can look very far down, rotate side to side, as well as tilt her head a decent amount. We have a ball joint at the mid-torso. She can go pretty far forward and back, as well as rotate side to side and tilt. Pin socket shoulders and go out to side, forward and back. We have a bend at the elbow that goes almost a full 90 degrees. We can also swivel there at the elbow. We have a ball joint there at the wrist. The legs, I already mentioned the diaper type articulation here, so they can move forward and back, as well as out to the side. They swivel up here at the upper leg. We can bend the knee as well as rotate. Not a massive bend of the knee, probably about 45 degrees, but it works well enough. And then we do have a ball joint here at the foot, which is actually midway through the shoe because she does have high tops on. They kind of give it in such a way, similar to how they do boots on most figures, where it's not trying to be ball jointed up here where the pants stop, it's just down where it makes more sense for the figure to pivot. For a size comparison, here's Ripley, the big chap alien, and Jones all next to each other, and I think they are in great scale with one another. The alien, of course, I have bent over a little bit, as it usually appeared in the film, but it's definitely a much taller character than Ripley is, and Jones is roughly the size of a house cat. So all joking aside about Jones being the real figure here and Ripley being an accessory, holy freaking crap, this thing is spectacular. Ripley, of course, is the get of this line. As cool as it is to have the Marines, and of course you gotta have the Xenomorphs in this line, Ripley's the main character of the Alien franchise. And while I'm sure NECA could continue to do awesome stuff if they weren't allowed to do this character, the fact that they're able to has made the line that much infinitely cooler. And getting this Ripley here is almost just like a tease for me, because while I love Alien, Aliens is where it's at for me. And knowing that that figure's coming next wave, and I can't quite have the Ripley I want yet, just makes me salivate over the figure pre-order that much more. But this Ripley figure gets a very, very strong recommend. If you're a fan of Alien in the slightest, even if you haven't picked up some of the other characters from this line, grab yourself a big chap, grab yourself this Ripley figure, and you've got a great little setup representing quite a large portion of the movie. Make sure you check me out on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also follow me on Facebook, link below. And until next time, this has been our Outside the Box Reviews. And stay tuned, because in space, no one can hear you review action figures, which is probably bad news for me in the future.